Shameless Picture Show is part of the Cinepunks Network. If you like the Shameless Picture Show and you want to hear other great shows like it, make sure you check out the Cinepunks Network. You can find them at www.cinepunks.com. That's CINEPUNX. There's other great shows such as Cinepunks. There's The Carnage Report, Cinema Smorgasbord, Fat Girl Hacks, Loud, Fast, Philly, Tomb of Ideas, and Twitch of the Death Nerve, and so much more. If you like punk rock and you like movies, make sure to go to www.cinepunks.com. And let's not forget the sponsors for the Cinepunks Network. We have the Lehigh Valley Apparel Creations. They are the premier screen printer of the Lehigh Valley with service to the whole country, professional and personable in a way that only a DIY business can be. They also have ridiculously low prices for whatever your screen printing needs may be. You can visit them online at xlvacx.com. That's xlvacx.com. Lehigh Valley Apparel Creations. We also have the Essex Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted to order. They have high quality beans, bunch of apparel, and tea available. They are bringing high quality coffee to the masses without the pretentiousness. Use the code CINEPUNKS for 10% off your first order. You can visit them at www.essexcoffeeroasters.com. That's ESSEX, coffeeroasters.com. Once again, use the code CINEPUNKS for 10% off your first order. Big shout out to the band Crossed Keys for lending us that awesome fucking music during our little ad. That song is called Who We Never Were. You can buy that single currently off of Bandcamp. The band is called Crossed Keys. It will be on their full-length album, Believes in You. That song was lent to me by Crossed Keys, specifically, I don't know if he goes by Joey Angel or goes by Joshua Alvarez, but I met him as Joshua Alvarez. He's the co-host of Cinepunks, our fucking network, and I told him, I love this song, I want to use it, so that way people don't have to just listen to me talk, and he said, fuck yeah. So please, if you like the song is called Who We Never Were. You can get that on Bandcamp currently. It's off of their album Believes in You. You can get the 10 song LP is out May 5th, Friday, May 5th. You can actually order it on vinyl right now. So go show them some love. Hey, do you like weird movies? You do? Have you heard of Vinegar Syndrome? Find them online at www.vinegarsyndrome.com. Vinegar Syndrome is one of the leading exploitation and grindhouse preservation and distribution companies in the world. They've got a simple 3-step process that I call the 3 R's: recover, restore, and release. Vinegar Syndrome has an amazingly large film archive consisting of thousands of 35 and 16mm negatives and prints, and are actively finding films that are underappreciated, undervalued, and underseen. So many of their releases have never seen the light of day since VHS, and they're restoring them to all their glory. Some of these films do not have the right to look as good as they do, but they do. I'm looking at you, corpse grinders. Vinegar Syndrome has their own method of restoration where their goal is to recreate the theatrical experience as best as they can. With their own in-house lab, they scan, color grade, and restore each title personally. You'll never see any grain reduction and digital trickery on their discs. Vinegar Syndrome is a very exciting label, and we're proud to have them as a sponsor. They've been with us since the beginning, and we love them for it. Check out their website today and pick up your copies of Rudy Ray Moore's Dolomite films, just in time for the new Netflix movie Dolomite Is My Name, starring Eddie Murphy. Also available is Hell Comes to Frogtown, starring Rowdy Piper, James Hong's The Vineyard, Pledge Night, Lust in the Dust, starring Divine, Putney Swope, the Amityville Cursed Collection, and much, much more. Also, don't forget to pre-order your copy of Tammy and the T-Rex in glorious 4K Ultra High Definition or Blu-ray, and the Angel Collection. Once again, be sure to visit them at www.vinegarsyndrome.com and grab yourself something cool. Let them know your good friend Michael sent you.
I'm gonna wrap this shotgun up his motherfucking.
Hey guys, Michael here from the Shameless Picture Show. I just wanted to record this little intro. If you hear any noise, it's because my wife is outside. My beautiful and talented wife is outside with the wood chipper. But I did want to come in and just give you guys a trigger warning for this episode. On this episode, Nick and I will be discussing the Dungeons and Dragons themed movie Mazes and Monsters. And in this episode, we do talk about mental health. We do talk about a little bit about suicide, because this movie is loosely based on a real event where the person that this is about does take his own life. But then in the context of the film, there is monsters and stabbings and things like that. But I did want to at least come on and mention about the mental health aspect, suicide. If these topics are difficult for you to listen to, we apologize. We try to be as eloquent as possible when it comes to it, but I did want to give you a warning, just that way it's not a surprise. So as always, we appreciate your support. Thank you for listening, and enjoy the episode.
This movie podcast actually discusses movies. Be aware that it may discuss any of the following elements: endings, surprise twists, unexpected cameos, and all manner of spoilers. If this doesn't appeal to you, why listen to a movie podcast? Without further ado, please enjoy our feature presentation, The Shameless Picture Show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Shameless Picture Show. I am Michael Viers, and with me, as always, is the level 9 druid of my life,
Nick Richards. Roll for initiative.
Roll for initiative. Points of inspiration. How you been, Nick?
I've been good. How have you been?
I've also been good. It's been
Good.
It's, you know, this last week was a little hairy, but it's stuff I did to myself. So anyone who listens to this show knows that a couple things about me. One, I bite off way more than I can chew. And I will do a lot to get, I don't know the right way to say it, so I'm just going to say I do a lot to get free shit. And, you know, so I do physical media reviews over on TikTok, because I felt that was a good way to kind of expand the brand a little bit more. And then I could show off the disc and not just, you know, us talking about it. Or better yet, me talking at you about what I just watched. And, so last week we watched, we had a free night and I wanted to watch something that had to review. So I gave Amanda a choice. You know, I pretty much said, here's my stack of stuff that I need to watch. What interests you? And we watched a movie from Vinegar Syndrome, called The Devonsville Terror, which was fun because it was shot in Wisconsin.
Ooh.
And it was about witches. And it has Donald Pleasance, so it's like, oh, there's a lot of weirdness to this. Like,
Right.
And then the weekend came. I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to record one of these reviews. And then I was like, well, let me check my little spreadsheet to see what's coming out next. I try to do it by release date. It's not always possible, but I was like, well, let's see what's coming out next. And I realized, oh, I have a title that's coming out soon. It's actually that new movie, Babylon.
Nice.
And I was like, oh shit, it comes out Tuesday. I was like, oh, well, okay. Well, we're going out of town on Saturday. If we watch this, you know, Sunday night, I can knock out the review on Monday. Easy peasy. And then I got another movie in called Dragon Slayer from the 80s. That's also coming out today. I'm like, oh, fuck. Why did I watch that one movie when I should have watched one of these? So it was a lot that I did to myself, but I got my review for the Vinegar Syndrome film done. I got the review for Babylon done. I'm going to watch Dragon Slayer this week. I feel like that one I could take a couple extra days because they sent it to me late.
Okay, yeah.
That's my, you know, Babylon, that's on me. They sent it to me 2 weeks before it released. That's on me. Dragon Slayer, they sent me 3 days before it came out. That can wait a couple. That's going to come up by Friday.
Right. What do they expect?
Exactly. And then actually I just got a new title in today that I thought came out at the end of February, like a month ago. It's a collection of silent avant-garde movies, which is appealing to like a very small subsection of people who listen to this show. And I was like, well, that's supposed to come out a while ago, but okay. I'll start working on it. At least if it's short, it's like I can kind of fit them in here and there. And
Sure. Yeah. It's not as big of something that you have to really set aside to take in.
That being said, they're experimental films and they're silent, so we'll see how it goes. But I chose this title knowing what I was getting myself into.
You know, if they sent that collection to anybody to review, like, it feels like it's safe in your hands. Like, I feel like you will give it a review in context that a lot of film reviewers would not.
Yeah, and it's not just like silent for the sake of being silent. Like, these are like from the 20s. So they're old.
They're silent because they didn't
sound didn't
everything
exist yet. Sound didn't exist yet. So it's like, okay, that's the reason I wanted this collection is because it's like it seems exciting. Like, okay, we have the early days of, like, at the point when these probably were coming out, cinema had only been maybe like no more than like 20, 30 years old. It was a baby genre. So there, it's, early on, when, right after the Lumiere brothers filmed that iconic shot of the train entering the station, two things happened from that point on. There was one subsection, I was like, man, this is amazing. How can we use this to show people fucking? And porn came to be.
Yep.
Pretty much, like, instantly. Like, oh, man, that's impressive. Can we get some naked ladies? And then there's another part of people. There's another group of people who are like, "This is great. How can we be artists with this?
How can we break it?"
Yeah, and we're already like, oh, like you remember that episode of The Simpsons where the barbershop quartet episode?
Oh yeah, of course.
And Barney's sitting there being like, it's like barbershop is on the way of becoming old and played out. I want to take it to new, exciting territory. And I imagine people were doing this in the 20s, like this genre, like they hadn't even figured out how to tell a visual story 100% yet. They're like, we're gonna fuck this shit up.
I liked the small crossover set of those two Venn diagrams that led to movies like Boogie Nights, where it was like, I want to do really intellectually interesting porn.
Whenever I think of like a pornographer, I think of Burt Reynolds because of that movie.
Well, and the mustache.
Yeah, and the mustache.
to be fair.
And for anyone listening, hopefully someone's listening. If you are fascinated by the early days of filmmaking and the transition to sound, this movie I just reviewed, Babylon, is a perfect is perfect for you. It's directed by Damien Chazelle, who did Whiplash and La La Land. This is about a subsection of people who are getting into the film, like some on their way up in the film industry, some on their way down. That story. People who are just getting their start in like 1926 when shit was still like they're showing like 3 movies being shot on set at one time. People would them hiring homeless people to be extras, people getting hurt. It was fucking wild. And then the Jazz Singer came out and changed fucking everything. And then people who were once successful in the silent era were struggling because they had annoying voices or they couldn't do it correctly. And it's all about that transition from the silent films to talkies.
Insert Futurama clip from the Harold Zoid episode.
Pretty much, or that scene in Singing in the Rain when they're talking about like how talkies are gonna ruin everything, and they can't cast that one actress because she's got an annoying voice, and that scene is actually in the spoiler. There's a character who's involved in the film world and leaves it and decides to come back after years, and has not watched a movie since he was making them, and went to go see Singing in the Rain. Has like an emotional reaction, seeing like shit that he lived on screen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
Yeah. So how have you been, Nick? I feel like I've been monopolizing that conversation.
No, it was all good stuff to hear. So you will be happy to hear that I did finally get all caught up on The Last of Us.
Yeah.
What a mind-blowing show. The writing on it and the performances are so good, and
Like, I knew what was coming because I played the game and I was still swept up in it.
Yeah, the storytelling is phenomenal, just crazy, and just like everybody else in the world right now, I also want to marry Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. And, like, good for fucking him. Like, he's been an actor who has just kind of been there for years. Like, looking back, it's like, oh, he was in that. Oh, he was in that. He was just kind of always there. And then he just he got really fucking lucky with the 1-2 punch of The Mandalorian, and then now this.
It's that single dad character needing to protect a childlike character that he just nails.
He's got crazy range because, like, you know, he'll do The Mandalorian, he'll do The Last of Us, but then he was also in that the Nicolas Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Just playing.
I haven't seen that yet.
He's just playing like a man-child.
Nice.
Just a wide-eyed like man-child.
I cannot wait.
And then he was the best part of Wonder Woman. I think it was like Wonder Woman 85 or 84, whatever.
84.
84. He plays, I guess, kind of the bad guy. He plays like the stereotypical coked out 80s villain.
Right.
With like big hair. He's very like Donald Trump in his deliveries. And like, it's like, oh, he can do, you know, the strong silent type, but then he can do broad comedy effortlessly.
Yep. He's charming as hell.
Yeah. And he kind of looks like a sad puppy.
Right?
He reminds me of Walter Matthau because he's kind of got those jowls.
But young Walter Matthau in his prime.
Yeah, sexy Matthau. Like, you go back and watch Kid Creole when Walter Matthau played the mobster in an Elvis movie. That was a deep cut reference.
It went deeper than I was able to swim. I have not seen that one.
Yeah, you got like baby Walter Matthau, and then you got middle-aged Walter Matthau and like the Bad News Bears, or they're taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3,
yeah.
And then you got Mr. Wilson, Walter Matthau,
or
Grumpy Old Men.
Thank you. God damn it. Yes, Grumpy Old Men.
I was pretty confident that's what you meant, but I wanted to give you a minute.
Well, thank you for letting me be a grumpy old man with really shitty memory.
Me and Amanda do it all the time, where she'll look at someone and she'll be like, that person, and I'll instantly tell her what she knows it from, because it's one of those situations, and she's like, oh, I love that I could just like point at someone and you tell me what I know them from. And it's one of those situations, like, I think it was like, I see an actor and like I'm starting to like, the database is going through of all the places I know them from, and then a second database is going through and be like, which one of these has Amanda's seen and that we've watched? Okay, it's this one.
You've built an API to cross-reference the two databases.
But kind of, and that's just all my brain.
Nice.
So how's it been over in Maryland?
Quite merry. Same old, just going to work and keeping the kids alive and rinse and repeat.
I haven't heard any bad news, so I assume all the kids are still breathing.
They are all vertical and relatively healthy and decently adjusted, and they did live through a pandemic, so
yeah, they're doing it. Like, and let's use Lane as an example. Lane is Nick's eldest daughter. She lived through a pandemic, and she willingly puts mustard on her watermelon. Like, she'll survive anything.
That is because of Lizzo. Apparently, that's a Lizzo thing.
Well, she does it, and she still she actually enjoys it. So
yeah, peer pressure is strong.
Yeah.
I'm trying to Zen's not the right word. I'm trying to give myself mental space to I can talk about this, I guess. So I think I mentioned before, I'm back in therapy.
Yes.
And I have been diagnosed is kind of a weird word in mental health circles, but I have severe anxiety and moderate pervasive depression.
Pervasive?
Pervasive meaning it's been around for a long time.
Okay.
Like it's not just a spike of depression. It's been there.
It's lingering.
Yes. So I'm learning to identify that stuff in a way that I've never been, like I've had it all my life and I had no idea. It was a huge like awakening revelation that I've had, and realizing that the way that my brain works could be better. And so when a thought comes up now, it's like, okay, is this a thought or is this out of scale anxiety? You know, is this a part of the problem? And so I've been able to start to identify that stuff, and it's helping a lot. It's been really good. The problem is it's also exhausting.
Oh, I bet.
Like it's an anxiety that I have to challenge on a like minute by minute basis. So it's
and you also have a pretty stressful job too, so that doesn't probably help.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say the job specifically is stressful, but the amount of energy that I need to put into my life in terms of like having a full-time job with a smaller staff who is doing larger scale projects adds a certain amount of stress, and being a parent of 4 kids is, as we were just talking about through the pandemic, takes a lot of bandwidth. And I think I believe that I'm a really good dad, and I believe that I'm a good employee, and a very good partner to my wife, but it only leaves so much energy left to like
you're like
put into yourself.
You're like a Stretch Armstrong.
Yes.
Where 2 kids are pulling on both
4
sides
kids.
of that.
4
kids
on each limb.
are pulling on that Stretch Armstrong and just wondering, like, when is that thing gonna break?
Right.
Give the Stretch Armstrong some rest.
So now I'm retracting back, trying to find my original shape.
Yeah, it's like
to continue the metaphor.
Yes. No, but I'm glad you are doing what you can to give yourself some time and to recover that bandwidth.
Yeah.
Yeah. But unless there's anything else you wanted to talk about, I think we could get onto the topic.
No, yeah, I say we roll for initiative.
Okay. On this... see, I must have rolled a 1 because I already fucked up. On today's episode of the Shameless Picture Show, if you didn't read the description or the title or see the
Just
little
going
picture,
in blind.
I hope there's someone out there that just listen, like they don't even pay attention. They're like, oh, new Shameless Picture Show, click.
Just bring it on. I don't care.
Yeah. But on today's episode of the Shameless Picture Show, we will be discussing a film that is on both of our shame lists.
I can't
Chosen
believe
by
it's true.
Nick. Stephen Hilliard Stearns, Mazes and Monsters. Fucking hate this title. Mazes and Monsters is a made-for-TV movie based on Rona Jaffe's book with the same name. It tells the story of 4 college friends attempting to get a group together for a fantasy role-playing game entitled Mazes and Monsters. I wonder if that's ripping off. This is more than a game for these 4. It's very clearly a big part of their life. Multi-hour gaming sessions many times a week is commonplace, and in some ways it's even taking precedence over their schoolwork. However, once the youngest member of the group, JJ, decides to take their role-playing game to the next level, things get a little out of hand. JJ proposes they play for real, by heading down into an abandoned mine to take a more live-action approach. One of the players, Robbie, while in the mine, sees what he believes to be a real monster, and his already unhealthy obsession with the game begins to seep into his real life when he loses track if he's Robbie or his character. Made in 1982 during the satanic panic that ruled the 80s, Mazes and Monsters was commenting on how role-playing games would be related to psychological concerns. Or that's the hypothesis that they're choosing to fucking go with. Rona Jaffe's book was loosely based on the disappearance of James Dallas Egbert III, who was a student at Michigan State University. Egbert was a huge Dungeons & Dragons fan who had disappeared from his dorm room and who had ended up killing himself. However, the film is of note as it features Tom Hanks' first acting role.
Yeah.
The film stars Tom Hanks, Chris Makepeace, which is a great name, Wendy Crewson, and David Wallace, and was written by Tom Lazarus based on Rona Jaffe's book. Originally airing on CBS from 1982 and directed by Stephen Hilliard Stern, this is Mazes and Monsters.
Tom Hanks and his friends get caught up in a deadly game of fantasy
I am the maze controller.
until they take it too far.
I propose we play mazes and monsters in a real setting. It won't be a fantasy.
Too bad for one of them, because now there's no turning back.
This is only a game.
I know I killed somebody.
Mazes and Monsters.
Saturday at 3 on ZTV, Fox 17.
One thing I want to mention before we get into the topic
Yep. Okay.
that is related to the film. I love in the 80s that there was a trend of like crediting a character in the title. So they'd be like, Tom Hanks, Wendy Crewson, David Wallace, and Chris Makepeace as JJ. I always love that and they usually do and blank if it's a big name or if it's someone who maybe it's their first role or something. But I always love that there was a trend of like this actor as this person, and the character name was always something really fucking goofy, like JJ or Chuckles or Slapnuts, like whatever. Like there was a period of time, especially in like comedies, where it was always like some goofy fucking name. Like I don't know, just that was amusing to me. This movie's not as bad with JJ, but it's still kind of funny.
Well, and I think it's a result of like trailers from the earlier generation. I'm thinking like the 40s and 50s, where it was less clips from the film edited together to tell a synopsis, and more like you were just seeing some scenes while a narrator was when the Frank Sinatra as the
Tom Hanks as Slapnuts.
Yes, Slapnuts.
Tom Hanks is 26 in this movie.
In watching this film, you can see that he is in a different acting caliber than the rest of the cast.
Oh, 100%. Like I didn't not love this movie, but he was easily the standout of this movie.
If an alien came down to Earth and their first exposure to the human race was the 1982 made-for-TV Canadian film Mazes and Monsters, then they would be able to go, you know what? I bet that guy's going to make it.
Out of everyone in this movie, that guy's got something.
That Thomas Hanks has something going on.
That dude from Bosom Buddies, I think he's going to be a big star.
The Burbs. Joe versus the Volcano.
The Money Pit.
Oh, so good.
Oh, God, we just rewatched The Money Pit recently, and it holds up really fucking well. So, Nick, this was so this is on both of our shame lists. I will say it's not 100% a shame list entry for me because I did start watching it a couple years ago and fell asleep. So okay. I saw like 15 minutes of it, but it's still shameless entry.
I think that still qualifies as a shameless title.
This was a title that you came in like swinging with when we planned out the season. We kind of came in with our options like, oh, how about we do this one? Yeah, that's a good one. But like, you pretty much came in, you're like, we gotta do Mazes and Monsters. That's how I remember it.
I've wanted to do this movie for like 4 years now.
Why the fuck didn't you mention it sooner?
It's always on my list, and I think I have thrown it out, but it just never made it to top tier status. And season 7, boy, Mazes and Monsters was getting dusted off.
So I don't know if I want to ask like where you first heard about this first. If I want to get your let's get your impressions. Tell me what you thought of Mazes and Monsters.
I'm gonna try and turn it around on you and see if I can do it without a wrestling match. And I'd like to start with you and your impression. What did you think of Mazes and Monsters?
Okay.
And I think before we hit this part of the conversation, I'd like to qualify that I am a big Dungeons and Dragons player.
Yes.
And if my understanding of your experience with it is right, it's enthusiastic and active, but maybe not as deep of a D&D bench as I might have. Is that accurate?
Yeah, 100%. So, I didn't love Mazes and Monsters.
You didn't?
No, not really. I will say I find it curious enough that with some time removed, I probably will go back to it.
Okay, I did at the end when the credits rolled. I go, this is not the last time that I watch this film. Like I knew right out of the gate that I will be watching this movie again at some point.
One thing I will say, just to be complimentary. This is the way that they play Mazes and Monsters is the way that I've always kind of wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, where I just not necessarily down in like a fucking abandoned quarry or whatever, but like they just take their shit really seriously. It's not
they're LARPing. Really is what they're doing.
Well, not that part. Like early on when they're playing and just around the table and everything, like they really just are like trying to tell a good story.
Yeah.
And I find that inspiring.
Yes.
It's not like because like there's so many times you always have one group or you always got the one dude who's just gonna be like, I'm gonna be Slap Nuts, the unconquerable or some shit. Like he's like, you're not taking this seriously enough. We're just gonna keep going back to that joke.
We're recycling it. We're upcycling it.
Slap Nuts is just gonna continue on. But honestly, like watching this, I think I felt about watching this the way you felt about watching Galaxy Quest. Not in that I thought it was like too similar to like my own life, where I felt those kind of. I didn't like their thesis statement that they were trying to get at. Because the movie started off as kind of like, oh, here's this game that we like to play, but it really did have kind of an anti Dungeons and Dragons, Satanic Panic bent to it. And I found myself, the more I watched it, getting more and more pissed off about that as I watched the film. And then, especially learning more about the person that it's loosely based on.
Right.
And, like, there's a lot of things that went into why Tom Hanks' character started losing his marbles, and none of them had to do with that fucking game. But instead, we had like a 5-minute scene, kind of explaining some of his pathos, which should be like what we should be analyzing a little bit more. But instead, he's too obsessed with this game. Clear, I don't know. I found myself just getting annoyed by it. Yeah.
Here's my, if I were to have a hot take about this, I've read up a little about people's reactions to the film, not very comprehensively, but I've gotten a few samples with which to kind of compare against my own reaction. And here's what I would like to challenge that idea with.
Okay.
First off, you're not wrong, and I think your reaction is the common reaction to it. I think the way that this film was put together, that is the prevailing reaction.
And because I have to say, I will say, not to cut you off, I think the filmmakers, maybe less the filmmakers, but more so Rona Jaffe, had an agenda.
Okay, is that the author of
yes.
the book?
I think there was an agenda behind this movie.
Okay.
And just knowing what the culture was like at this time with the Satanic Panic, there was an agenda.
What I found really interesting about the film, so I was expecting that movie, knowing the story that it was based on and the era that it was made in. I'm well versed in that satanic panic situation. Like I didn't grow up directly in that era, but I grew up in the aftermath.
Yeah,
of,
you were like
of the satanic panic.
You kind of survived it because you were right afterwards.
Absolutely. Like I didn't play D&D when I was young, but only because I didn't have enough interested friends interested in playing. Like I bought a D&D campaign book without the core rule books or anything, and I'm like, I don't understand this at all, and nobody was interested in like playing with me to put the work into figuring it out. So, but I played Magic the Gathering, Hero Quest, other very nerdy games in that same kind of world. And I remember my parents, while they didn't stop me from playing it, there was some discomfort in it for them because of them seeing all of that through, and then their son is playing with that same stuff. Like they were kind of uncomfortable about it at first. That was my impression.
I
as a
do
young
have
boy.
to say, I do have to ask. It just doesn't compute in my brain why anyone was worried about Dungeons and Dragons players. I say this as lovingly as possible. Have they met the people that play Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, I think in the 80s, a lot of there were the nerdy kids, but also like the metalheads.
No, that's fair.
Were also getting into it, and I think that fed it was like rock and roll is gonna turn you to the devil, and so is Dungeons and Dragons. It was like
a pen and paper dice game is gonna make you worship Satan.
but it had things like summoning demons.
Fair enough.
It played in the things that many of the religious people of the very like conservative religious folks. It's kind of like how after Columbine, everybody was complaining about first-person shooters.
Fair enough.
Right?
Okay,
Like,
that makes sense.
It was this is what's doing it toward. The parents were looking at kids doing drugs and gangs and being like, it's the D&D and the guitars. That's what they were blaming out of culture for all of
that makes sense.
the ills. So my theory is that the filmmakers were attempting to defend Dungeons and Dragons in this film, and they just didn't do a very good job of it.
And I will agree to a certain point, because up until JJ's LARP through the fucking mine, I actually remember thinking it's like, oh, this is actually kind of a loving tribute to Dungeons and Dragons, especially made in 1982.
Right. So
for a lot of people, this was their first viewing of what one of these games is played out like. And I don't know, it almost feels like after Tom Hanks saw that monster, it almost feels like a different filmmaker took over. And
it reminded me a bit of the New York sequences from Highlander. The dark alley wandering about, there's a hobo in the newspaper pages rattling through the streets.
There's definitely a nerdiness to this movie, and I think I haven't read Rona Jaffe's book, but from what I've come to understand based on the little bit of research I did, when the news story about James Dallas Egbert came out, she didn't want someone else to beat her to the punch, so she poorly researched it herself to get the book out. Because apparently there is another book called The Dungeon Master.
Yeah.
That was written by the investigator who was looking for Egbert, and is a more true depiction of what happened.
Yes.
But there is like a nerdiness to this film, and I'm gonna go on a wing and say that it did not come from Rona Jaffe. I'm gonna say it came from Tom Lazarus, the screenwriter.
I believe that's true.
And there was one line in particular that just sticks out to me. So when Tom Hanks is talking to his fucking character version of himself, and he's talking about the two towers.
Yeah.
And then JJ was like, well, that's Tolkien. That, you mentioned the two towers, now everyone's going to think of Lord of the Rings. That wasn't something people were talking about in 1982.
The nerds were, but it wasn't common knowledge.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't think some Hollywood screenwriter is just going to know enough about the world of Tolkien to be able to, to make that reference, because it wasn't in popular culture in that way. So, I don't know. I was enjoying the movie up until a certain point, and I also will say that I might have been in kind of a bad mood while watching it. And, but like realistically, the point, the one, like I guess the lock-in, which is, not being sure if Tom Hanks, if he's actually seen these creatures or not, should have been up my alley.
Yeah.
And I just found it really frustrating me. And I think it's also because I felt like there was a significant lack of plot in this film to warrant things that were happening.
I think put a pin in that. I want to come back to that. But to like what made me finally come down and decide that my opinion was that this was more loving tribute and defense than it was exploitation of the real life events or a condemnation of the game was towards the end when they all went to visit him at his mom's home, and they approach the house and the mom is there. Thank you for coming to see him. He'll love to see you. But I want you to know that I don't blame you guys and I don't blame the game. This is something that it's very explicit to the point that it like is very bad, right? Like just flat out, like the writing in this movie is not good. Mm-hmm. But very clearly and specifically says, I don't blame you guys, don't blame yourselves, and I don't blame the game.
And that's a fair point.
I think all of the other stuff that I felt as well, and given the story that it's based on, I think the filmmakers were trying to spin this story back to, no, this was a kid with a mental health problem. It's not that a role-playing game broke his mind and made him crazy. It almost feels like I'm gonna keep giving the screenwriter credit, because just knowing nothing against Stephen Hilliard Stern, I know the types of movies he makes. Okay.
He's an exploitation filmmaker. The man made Rolling Justice, which is about like a semi truck. A killer semi-truck movie, or The Park Is Mine, which is a Tommy Lee Jones movie about a war veteran who takes control of Central Park. Like, that's this fucking guy.
The whole thing feels like it was made by a production team that normally made 80s porno.
100%. Well, it was made for TV, so
yeah,
same
like
production values.
The soundtrack, the cameras, the most of the, like, you're like, these are the porn actors that are like, oh, this is finally going to be my break into real movies. And that's how Tom Hanks got out of porn.
Yeah, good for him. He was known as the Hog for the longest time, or Slapnuts.
Slapnuts was, yeah, that was...
that was his patented move. I hope Tom Hanks hears this.
And then insists on being on the show to set the record straight.
That would be great, honestly. So like I said, nothing against Stephen Hilliard Stern. He makes the types of movies that I want to see. But I'm going to give some credit to Tom Lazarus, because I honestly feel like it almost feels like Tom Lazarus was a or is, I don't know, a D&D guy, and he got this job, and he's like, man, this book's not working. I got this job. How can I do both?
Right.
Because you're 100% right. Like I said, I think I was just in a poor mood while watching it.
No, I think it's not written well, and because of that, the messaging isn't clear.
I can't tell what they want their point to be. And to go back to, and I definitely do think the film is trying to do their, that this is less to do with mazes and monsters and more to do with an issue with mental health and childhood trauma about his brother leaving him. Mm-hmm. But they
didn't have the language to talk about that in the 80s like we do now.
But they couldn't commit to it. I feel like it's just kind of a casually, they bring it up in like one, maybe two scenes to add some pathos, and then it's never brought up again.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm saying there's a lack of plot to this story.
Absolutely.
Because you have that. You have Tom Hanks and this girl just fall in love out of nowhere. We don't get anything building up to that even happening. And then they fall apart, and then she starts seeing, like, I just feel like things are happening. And
there was
none
also...
of it,
like, JJ's character was suicidal and was talking to his bird how he was going to go into the caves and kill himself, and then that was never brought up again.
I feel like JJ's character should have been the Tom Hanks character. But I feel like they got to set and they just saw how much better Tom Hanks was, and like, give him all the parts, give him all of this.
I feel like they took the real life person and they're like, all right, we're going to adapt this person's story and change it dramatically. But we're also, instead of just one guy, instead it's like three guys and a chick.
Yeah.
Like, but it's all...
That's the most unrealistic part. There was a girl playing Dungeons and Dragons in the 80s?
The misogyny of that era and that cross-section of human beings probably would not have allowed for it.
Probably not.
Gross.
Yeah. And then, like, especially because if you look up, like, okay, granted, this all comes from Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. But I haven't read the fucking book. However, I will say this movie made me want to read Rona Jaffe's book, and then I want to read William Deere's book, the person who wrote the better book.
Yep.
But here's the background of James Dallas Egbert III, according to Wikipedia, and you tell me which character in this movie he sounds more like. Egbert was born in Dayton, Ohio, and grew up in Huber Heights, a Dayton suburb, attending Wayne High School. He was a child prodigy and entered Michigan State University at the age of 16, where he majored in computer sciences. Which character does that sound like? Does that sound like Tom Hanks' character? No, it sounds like the guy who has a different hat in every fucking scene.
Yep.
Which was my favorite part. I loved every scene. Different hat. He committed to that.
I felt like it kind of worked for his character, like as a 16-year-old on a college campus who was like,
100%.
This is how I'm going to deal with the impossibility of this social structure.
I don't know. It just feels like it's the lack of having a main character that was really bugging me, because it felt like the movie started off with us making feel like JJ was going to be the lead character, and then it's like, here's Tom Hanks, he's more interesting.
they just switched everyone's scripts halfway through filming.
Yeah, I just feel like, I can based on the way that the film portrayed JJ, it makes more sense to me that he would be the one being driven to school by his parents and them telling him, hey, no playing games this year. And, like, I don't know. It feels like they were going to make him the Egbert character.
Right.
And they were like, maybe this is too similar. This is too on the nose.
Instead, let's give that storyline to this other character who we've written into the film, but only halfway through the film. We're going to still keep the first half where JJ was that character.
Yeah.
Now it's Tom Hanks.
And then, like, honestly, like, the way this movie portrayed things, it was like when, I guess, like, the classically good-looking character, Daniel, or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Was it Daniel?
That sounds right to me, but
Whoever the other guy was.
the one who was under pressure from his parents to succeed and to excel, which also is a factor in the original story that it's based on.
Yes.
So that's another like feature of that individual character that was then spliced onto a different character in the film.
Yeah, David Wallace. His character's name was Daniel. After Daniel essentially killed JJ's character, and then JJ kind of like became a supervillain there for a little bit, where he's like pouting to himself and decides to go to this fucking like abandoned mine. And when he's like, "Oh, we're gonna play for real," I really thought it was gonna be JJ killing them.
That's
the way the movie was pushing it.
Yep.
Like, when Tom Hanks became, like, the one with the problems, like, where the fuck did that come from? That's not the way this movie was leading us in.
I thought JJ was going to set up a scenario where he was, like death by cop, but death by player character.
This movie has a really chilling intro when they're just showing the mine, and they're giving, like, the news crew is like, "Oh, what happened here?" Something happened here, and the kids play Mazes and Monsters. Like, it's just like it's a crime scene. I'm like, what the fuck happened in that mine? And then we find out nothing actually happened in that mine, because Tom Hanks he fucking fucks off to New York City or some shit.
Yeah,
like it's I feel like, okay, I think I figured it out.
Okay.
This is my breakthrough. This is kind of like you watching Galaxy Quest when you found out what your problem with it really was.
Yep.
I think it's less to do with thematically the anti D&D bent to it, because that, as I'm thinking about it, that pissed me, that annoyed me, but it's not what pissed me off. I think what pissed me off is this film does not know what story it's trying to tell, and it's trying to tell too many, and it doesn't tell any of these stories well.
I completely agree.
And I think because of that, because there was just like a fucking tonal whiplash in every scene, and I was struggling to figure out how we even got to Tom Hanks stabbing a punk in New York City. I think I was just getting pissed off because it's poor storytelling. It's poor filmmaking.
Yes. Every act of this film, you're trying to get your head around what you're watching.
Yes.
Which then doesn't allow you to engage with the material.
So I think I might enjoy it more the next time around, because now that the shock of what the fuck is happening is gone. But I think that's ultimately what was bothering me about this film. Yeah. Like, I think that I honestly think that's it. It's just a poorly made movie that has some nice stuff. And honestly, this makes me really just want to see a well-produced version of this guy's story.
So Reyna said something that I found so true, in that, like, this film would make such a good reboot.
Yes.
Like, it was pulled off so badly off the bat, but that film would sell now if you made it at the quality that it could be made today. Perfect.
You take William Deere's book, The Dungeon Master, and you make that like a 5 to 6 episode Hulu or Netflix television
D&D
series.
plus true crime.
Yes, this would kill now.
It would be printing money.
Yes. Like, I think there's
all right,
something
let's
to
edit that out, and then you and me do that.
We have to get, if we can make this into if we can get the rights to the book.
Yeah.
I don't think we could afford that. We would need to have an angel investor.
I think we could put together a pretty strong pitch.
Yeah. Well, let's do some digging and figure out who owns the estate to William Deere. He's alive.
Oh, nice. So he does.
And he's a Democrat. Even better.
Ooh,
he's a Democrat from Texas.
Ooh, that's a rare breed.
What?
Austin, I'm guessing.
It just says Dallas based.
Okay.
You know what's originally weird? Not originally weird. What's weird is the James Dallas Egbert case was originally known as the steam tunnel incident,
I think I remember
which
reading
is
that.
super funny to me.
That would be the name of the miniseries, the steam tunnel incident.
Hey, William C. Deere and Associates Incorporated on Facebook.
Nice. Hey, well, what are you doing with those rights? You want to just let us have them?
I kind of want to read this book. Anyways,
Okay. As I said, this won't be the last time that I watch this.
There is a Blu-ray release of this film. I do want to tell you.
Nice.
And there's a commentary track with, I don't know the people's names, but it says RPG Legends. So people who are involved with D&D apparently did a fucking commentary track. So I figured I should tell you about that.
My kind of takeaway at the end of the day is I am going to enjoy this movie in the same exact way that I love The Hunter from the Future.
Okay, that's fair.
There are so many moments. The D&D thing alone, like, I kind of had a similar reaction as I have to things like Rocky Horror Picture Show or these kind of call and response films that have these very committed small groups of fans. Like, I could see me and my D&D group getting together and watching this so that we could do the dramatic Tom Hanks lines when he's on the payphone. I think I killed someone.
I don't think it's as fun at all. Like,
I had a blast watching this movie. It's so ridiculous.
I just don't think it's that fun at all.
Oh,
I find it curious.
I think the low production value totally changes it for me.
And I have to say, where I watched it off of Peacock. It looks like a straight VHS rip.
Oh yeah, no. What did I watch it on? It wasn't Peacock, but it was another.
And I had to. Funny enough, when I was watching it, it cut off the last minute of the movie, so I had to go to a different app just so I could watch the last
so you
minute.
Finish it
Because it ended right with them like walking up to Tom Hanks when he's looking at the lake, and I was like, do I need to see the last scene? And I did, because that last scene changes the movie where he's still in character. But it's like I almost like, yeah, fuck the last minute of this movie.
The last 6 scenes or so were such a roller coaster ride because it was, as we've established, like, the story is not told well. Mm-hmm. And you can feel them trying to wrap a bunch of shit up, and they do it in like the worst way possible. The car ride scene leading up to that house was so like, well, gang, we did it. Oh, you got into college, or you're next. That's wonderful. As for me, here's what I'm doing with the rest of my life. Gee whiz, I sure hope Tom Hanks is doing well. Well, we're going to see him in a minute. Let's go. Like,
I know, it's like they're all doing so well.
So bad.
They're all doing so well, and he's still thinks he's a fucking druid.
It was so, like, I understand that this was made for TV, and in this era, made for TV stuff had a totally different tone than stuff like made for TV or streaming like, the game is so different now. That like Mazes and Monsters has that like kind of PSA ending, like, oh, it's a good thing you told me about those drugs, son. Stay in school. You know, like the ending of it was so made for TV that it made me like uncomfortable and nostalgic and happy all at the same time.
Honestly, one thing I was really hoping from the character of JJ, I was really hoping he was going to be that. What?
Another hat.
I was hoping he's going to be that character that carries dice with him and makes decisions based on dice rolls.
Yes.
Not once was a decision made by a dice roll in this movie.
God damn it.
And they could. Oh my god, our new version of it could have like almost an Inception ending where the character of JJ he decides things by dice rolls, and like he goes like they're like. They can make some like dramatic choice of Tom Hanks, and he goes to roll the dice, and it's just still spinning, and the movie fucking ends before we figure out what.
No.
That's our top spitting.
I love it. I would love to get Finn Wolfhard to play Tom Hanks' character, because he already has that like Stranger Things, like D&D connection.
I want Finn Wolfhard just to play Tom Hanks. I want him to do a Tom Hanks impression through the entire movie.
Oh, I thought of another like really fun, like here's my conspiracy theory for Mazes and Monsters, that Tom Hanks, that the character Tom Hanks played didn't go crazy, that Tom Hanks the actor went crazy, went into like started living his character and never stopped, and this whole like America's Dad like thing, that's his character that he can't stop role playing. There it is.
I think that's that's solid. I'm gonna choose to go with that.
What else I did take note? Oh, the other thing that I really like, the big picture thing that I took away from this film, as I have said multiple times, this film is not made well. No. However, in every shot, I can feel like the same guerrilla filmmaking spirit that I felt making films. Like you can see how they're trying to do a lot with a little bit, and they're not pulling it off, but god damn it, I'm rooting for them every step of the way.
Yeah, I get that. Like there was like a Wild West quality to made for TV movies, and even like some of the higher quality TV shows at the time. Like, you know, you watch Columbo, and there's sometimes where it kind of feels like an indie film because they're trying to make something that's filmic, but on a TV schedule. Right.
Those Columbo episodes were like 90 minutes long, weren't they?
Yeah, they're like the one I watched last night was an hour and 15.
It's crazy. They made a film, and the Twilight Zone did that for one season too. I think.
Yeah. Columbo though, they only released an episode like once every like other month because of that shooting schedule. But you know, or like something like Magnum PI. Magnum PI feels like they're stretching that fucking budget as far as they possibly go.
Speaking of great mustaches.
Yeah, that's a great mustache. And then when we do a very Brady Christmas this year, there's going to be nothing but mustaches.
Glorious.
Yes. But I think it's safe to say, like I said, I think upon a rewatch, I don't think I'll have like the just annoyance that I did the first time now that I've settled on what my annoyance is. But I just like when I first watched it, like I said, something was bothering me. Something just felt off. And then finding that it was based on a true story.
Yeah. And
finding out a little more about the person it's based on, I then started getting frustrated that it just wasn't a better story of that person. Like, I just wanted, like, I saw the path of what this could have been, and then it pissed me off that we got what we did.
Mm-hmm. It was executed very poorly.
Yes.
And I think that there is a seed of something really cool in it.
Yes.
That is what makes me want to remake usually like things that I love. It's like, well, that was made good. Why would I want to redo it? Like you'd have to have something very specific to say in order to justify remaking something. Whereas this, like, yes, I would still have something important to say. I have the connection to that source material that I think I would be able to put something special into it. But also, it was just done so badly the first time that alone makes it worth redoing.
You think we could get Tom Hanks to do a cameo as like Robbie's dad?
I think that the realist in me says not a chance in hell, but that would be the absolute. If we like put something really special together and presented it to him and said like, here's what we're trying to do, here's what we've done, it's done, and we would love if you believe in what we've done, in the spirit of what we've done, would you be interested in kind of signing off on it by participating? Like there is that. It's not an impossibility.
You know what I think we could do? So my other thought was like, instead of Tom Hanks playing someone, it could be like almost, there could be like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre style like opening narration, kind of like giving some of the backstory, and that could be done by Tom Hanks. But then I thought, we probably can't afford Tom Hanks, but you know who we can afford?
Colin Hanks?
Jim Hanks. Jim Hanks is Tom Hanks' real life brother who does the voice of Woody whenever Tom Hanks can't be bothered to do it.
Oh my God, yes.
So if you're like, there's so many times where if there's the voice of Woody, it's more than likely Jim Hanks, unless it's one of the movies.
One of the main three,
Yeah.
or four, is it now?
Like every video game that has had Woody in it has been Jim Hanks.
I love how he's just like, yeah, sure, what the hell, I'll do that.
Yeah. If we can't get Tom Hanks, we can get a Hanks. Maybe we can get Chet, you know.
I don't think that would have the same impact.
This would be a very different movie if we got Chet Hanks. Yeah, I don't think we can afford Colin or Tom, but I think we can get Jim, and we can probably get Chet. Actually, I feel like Chet's going to charge more than Jim. I don't know why. I just have that feeling.
I also think Chet would be a project destroyer. I think he would not conform to the vision.
Yeah.
He's a road bro.
Yeah, fuckboy summer. All right, enough of the Hankses.
So I had two separate Thrill House moments.
Okay.
There was the first one that that connected to the D&D player in me.
Funny enough, real quick, I do have to say I had two as well, even though I didn't like the movie, but continue.
Yes, yep. So the first one was when they were first playing in the caves, and somebody says, "Let's split up," and then Tom Hanks goes, "No, I don't think that's a good idea." It was like, I don't know if it was intentional, because I don't know if the trope of splitting the party had really developed yet. But as a modern D&D player who has seen a billion memes about like not splitting the party, and I laugh every time the party that I DM for considers it, like that was the no, don't split the party moment. That
I have to say there was a really funny moment after that scene too. Like after they got out of the mines, and they're they're like, "Oh, we should do this again." And Tom Hanks is like, "I don't think that's a good idea." And I just love that they're all like, "Oh, fuck off, Tom Hanks!" Like they're all just like, "This is too good. Leave us, shut up."
What are you gonna go crazy and think that you're your character?
Like I just love how they just dismissed him. Like shut up. Funny enough though, real quick, I do want to say before you give me your other Thrill House moment, this movie does have an interesting Toy Story connection.
What?
Yes.
Is Tim Allen in this goddamn movie?
No, but I'll give you one better. So, Wendy Crewson, who plays the only female in this group, she was in this with Tom Hanks. She was also the mother in The Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Stop it!
I swear to God, man.
What? Wow.
So there's definitely a Toy Story comparison there.
That's funny.
She did a movie with both Buzz and Woody. So tell me the Thrill House moment, Nick.
So the other Thrill House moment was when I accepted this film for what it was, which is a really badly produced Canadian made-for-TV movie. And that was the alley like greaser stabbing sequence where like they keep cutting
There's blood on my knife.
Right? They keep cutting to Tom Hanks like seeing the monster that is clearly like a costume, but it kind of works because that was
it's like straight out
traumatizing.
It's straight out of an old Doctor Who episode.
Right? Like there was it was so bad, and Tom Hanks fucking went so hard on it that I'm like, okay, this is my new You're the Hunter from the future. I'm going to watch this over and over again, and I'm going to love it for what it is, a piece of shit that I love.
Yeah.
So that was my second Thrill House moment.
So my two Thrill House moments, like I said, even though I didn't really enjoy the movie, I think I might have been a little hard on it. My original rating on Letterboxd, it might go up an extra half star, but I have to rewatch it again. But my first Thrill House moment was surprisingly actually was the opening scene. Like was the opening of before they brought in the really cheesy like theme song, but like with the
it had like a Night of the Living Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe to it.
It just was very somber and like this whole like I love this concept that we know something bad happens in these tunnels. And then we do the fucking Flintstones intro where we show where it goes, and then we go back to the beginning to show how we get there.
Yeah.
Classic Flintstones structure. And then we're getting to know these characters. So it's like, oh, that's a really strong way to begin this movie. And they wasted it. My other Thrill House moment.
They set you up high so that you had so much further to fall.
My other Thrill House moment was when JJ gets this great idea to go down to the caverns, because I really thought this was going to become a very different movie. Like the way this movie built it up with that beginning and everything, you just really think JJ is going to fucking kill someone in there.
Yep.
Or going to be responsible for someone dying in here.
Yeah.
Like it could have easily become like The Descent, but instead of like actual creatures, they just think they're seeing creatures and they're murdering each other. Like there was something there, and I was like, oh, this is an
X-Files episode.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is going to become something really interesting, and it comes smack dab in the middle of the film. Like, oh, this is like, because like, oh, we had our loving tribute to D&D and everything, but now here's the fucking movie,
right?
And I was really excited, and then they once again wasted it.
Yep. They kept you on the hook just long enough to keep letting you down.
And then I was almost like, man, I don't like this movie. And then Tom Hanks was like, there's blood on my knife. And I was like, okay, that's pretty amusing. But
right? Whenever he got really upset, also when they finally find him in New York, he's like, what am I doing here?
And I just love when they find him. Granted, I his whole thing is like, oh, I'm gonna fly or whatever. Like his character can fly for some reason. I don't know.
LSD.
But like, I love that he's just looking over the edge, and it's the one time in this movie where I was like, oh, I can see Tom Hanks in this role. Like, because it just reminded me of him in Big, where he was just like, just this childlike thing of him looking over the edge of the tower. I'm like, oh, I could see him doing that in Big.
Right. Yep. So there were two other things that I wanted to mention before we wrap up the conversation. They're smaller things, but
and then I did have a question for you too before we wrap up too.
Okay. So one was, did you notice how many shots they reused during the Twin Towers chase sequence?
Yes.
Like there was a moment where I thought the film had like jumped back and I was rewatching something that I had already seen. It's because I was, but not because the film went back. It's because they kept reusing shots.
In an edit, I've had to do shit like that too, so I get it.
I get the need for it, but I've never seen it used so blatantly. Like in very obvious shots and so...
and used so blatantly where it's not a joke, because Lloyd Kaufman's done it, but he's done it for a joke.
This was like, we need to make this chase scene twice as long. Okay, take the shots
we need
and
some
play
time
them
in between
again.
Commercial breaks.
Right, like it was off.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I wanted to say, another like, it was so bad it was funny, was they know that Tom Hanks is in New York, and they're freaking, we got to save our friend. The cops aren't going to do anything. We got to do it. And then they go over to, I think, JJ's house, one of their houses. And he's like, oh, my mom redecorated my room. And it's just what I've always wanted. They had that like conversation earlier where, Mom, you don't get me. The room is my sanctuary. Like,
Especially
Why
because,
the
like,
fuck
I feel
was that storyline in there?
I think it's supposed to because his room originally looked like a fucking a hospital room, and I was like, oh, here's a kid that probably just got out of a mental hospital, and then his room looks like everything in this movie shows that JJ should be the one losing his fucking mind.
Yeah. You could have done something really good with it. And instead, the so-called payoff to that room bit interrupted and took away from the momentum of saving their friend.
Yeah,
it was so badly timed.
No, it's really nice in here, JJ.
Ooh, this is
And then,
snazzy.
like,
and it really just screams JJ.
And just thinking about it too, it's like, so JJ, he takes it kind of personally when Tom Hanks and Wendy Crewston start seeing each other, and then his character it's like
they break up because he can't have sex because his character told him so in a dream. But then there was also like they're like, okay, they're just not dating anymore, and they moved. All of that story buildup was nothing.
But like I said, JJ handled it weird when he found out they were dating, and I was like, oh, is this gonna be like one of the things that sets JJ off? And
nope, they just never bring it up again.
Nope, it's like this movie is just it brick walls itself.
Yep. And I can't wait to see that moment again and scream at the TV and love it.
So I wanted to ask you, like I said, you came in wanting to discuss this movie. When did this movie come on? When did this movie like come across your radar? Because for me, I never even heard of it until I was like years ago when we were still living in Moguanago. So this is around season 1.
Okay.
I was just scrolling through Amazon and I just saw it pop up and it had Tom Hanks. And I was like, what the fuck is this? When did you first hear about this movie, and what did you know about it going in?
So I knew loosely that there was this story, this real life story about a kid who, and actually a lot of times the story is told improperly, where he goes down into the caves and gets lost and dies, when really what I believe happened is he just did go down and play D&D in these caves, but then he like went home and killed himself.
Yeah, they went down to the steam tunnels to essentially LARP. And then I think he wrote like a suicide note and went down there with that intent. And when they went down there, I don't know if I'm telling the story correctly, people, but they didn't find him, and it turns out he ran away or something.
Right. I was aware of this story and its connection to the Satanic Panic. I had heard that they made a film out of it, and that was all the more that I knew for quite a long time. I'd say 10, 12 years ago, maybe. And then maybe 5 years ago, probably around the same time, it started popping up on streaming services, right as D&D is getting more popular than ever. I think then it just got referenced enough and then I made the Tom Hanks connection, and that was when I'm like, okay, this is something that I want to experience. I want to see the telling of this story, which turned out to not really be a telling of that story, which again, like isn't... I don't have an issue with, just that the story that they were telling, they didn't tell it well, or they were telling too many stories at the same time, or however you want to word it. So strongly for about 4 or 5 years, in a more passive way for over a decade.
Okay. Yeah, because like I said, I hadn't even heard of it, so I was curious if it was something that was talked about amongst D&D circles. And like I said, it must be popular enough that Plumeria Pictures out of the UK put out a special edition Blu-ray of it.
Nice. So, I'm going to have to get my hands on that.
Yeah, presented in HD for the first time anywhere in the world, because everywhere in the world it looks like shit.
It's still just like a Blu-ray release of the VHS dub.
The slipcover has like Dungeons and Dragons dice with blood, and I find it really funny because it's like, I don't think we even saw dice in this movie.
Nope.
But no,
or blood.
Yeah.
Except on his knife. And my knife!
Like I said, there's only 2 features, but it's got an exclusive audio commentary of RPG legends Seth Skorkowski, Scott Dorward, Joe Trier, and Veronica Escamilla Brady, and Ehogan Falvey. I don't know who any of those people are.
If it makes you feel any better, I do not either.
And then an 8-page essay from film and games writer Dan Jolin. So people must have shit to say about this fucking movie.
Right? I am curious, having now watched the film, what kind of the impression of the portrayal of D&D and this particular historical event, like what the community thinks of it, because I recognized that I had a different reaction than many people do.
Yeah.
That are more in line with what your reaction was.
Same thing with Galaxy Quest. Like there's a lot of trekkers who love Galaxy Quest, and then you didn't. So and then it'd be interesting too, because like I said, I've scoured Letterboxd, and it's a combination of like, this movie fucking sucks, and then people rate it 5 stars and being like, this movie fucking sucks.
Like it goes back to like we've talked about like how we rate things a lot, and for me this is like a 1-star film that I slam that heart button on, like yours.
And that I can understand completely. But I'd be curious to see like people who are like yourself, who are lifelong D&D aficionados, what the general consensus is there.
Right.
And then I'm curious, like, is the guy who created D&D still alive?
The guy who created it is a hotly contested subject. It's commonly thought to be Gary Gygax, who is no longer alive, but he is from I believe he's actually from Clinton, Wisconsin, which is, but Lake Geneva, Wisconsin is kind of the home of TSR and the origins. I think, I might be screwing up these names. I apologize to my fellow nerds. I believe Ed Greenwood is another one who was around in those days, who was fundamental in creating the game and making it what it was. I believe he created the Forgotten Realms campaign world.
I'm just curious if any of those people had seen this movie when it came out, and I would have loved to have heard their thoughts.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I'm looking up just Dungeons and Dragons on Wikipedia, and like you said, Gary Gygax is there, and they have a little picture of him, and they also have Dave Arneson.
That name sounds very... I know that name.
It's funny. You click on their pictures, they look like they could be the same person.
Right.
I also love that, like, the Lake Geneva thing, because you walk through Lake Geneva and there's like a stone in the ground that's dedicated to, like, this is the birthplace of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep.
Or the birthplace of the guy who birthed Dungeons and Dragons. I also had a little bit of a giggle to myself when I was researching this movie, and that's when I found the whole thing about James Dallas Egbert. And what I find really funny about it is the simple fact that, except the Wikipedia page on him has a little bit of information, but not a lot. But what I find really amusing is the section about his disappearance. It says, Egbert left his dormitory room at Case Hall on August 15, 1979, after writing a suicide note, and entered the university's steam tunnels. He consumed some a Quaalude, intending to commit suicide, but he survived. He woke up the next day and went into hiding at a friend's house. This is the part that makes me laugh. Gen Con 12, a convention dedicated to tabletop role-playing, began that day in Wisconsin, and some attenders reported they have seen him there. Like, why is that part of it?
That sounds like the home detective sleuths going like, all right, we have evidence of him at Gen Con on this day, the last time he was seen.
Yeah, I think that's Mazes and Monsters, unless you got anything else you want to talk about, Nick.
No, I really enjoyed this conversation. I am not the least bit surprised by your reaction, and I think yours is the more accurate one. And I have no problem loving this dumbass movie for the dumbass movie that it is.
I can't wait for you to hear the conversation that Josephine and I have about Spice World, because I feel like it's going to be an interesting, like, this episode and Spice World together. It's going to be an interesting couple episodes.
Yep. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. This has been a strange season thus far of the Shameless Picture Show.
Hey, you know what? It wouldn't be the Shameless if we did it all nice and normal and organized and non-chaotic. And
then the next episode, you guys will be hearing, me and Nick will be returning with what was the title of that movie?
Up in Smoke.
I was thinking Still Smoking, but I was like, no, that's the sequel one. What's the first one? Up in Smoke.
Up and Still Smoking.
Yeah, we'll be watching the Cheech and Chong movie, Up in Smoke. Funny
have
enough,
you seen this?
I might have. My dad loved Cheech and Chong, and so I've seen bits and pieces, if not whole movies of theirs, but I don't know which one. I couldn't tell them apart. Okay. So I might have. But I have this movie on VHS, so I'm going to watch it in the VHS room.
I love it. Awesome.
Which feels like the best way to watch this.
Yeah.
And I hope...
high.
Yeah, I hope everyone, if you guys watch the movies along with us, get super duper stoned to listen and watch the movie, and then get super duper stoned and listen to us talk about the movie.
That sounds like a date.
Yeah. Should be a good time for all.
Awesome.
All right, Nick. Well, as always, if you guys are enjoying the show, be sure you come back next time. Shame time, shame place, shameless
Shame
Picture
Station.
Show. I removed Shame Station because that one, it just...
Shame Station?
Yeah, you sound like Sean Connery trying to say it.
It's kind of hard to say.
Yeah. I'm still working out the kinks on that call sign.
we didn't always go back.
Yeah.
Maybe
whatever.
It was a pipe dream.
This is what the show is.
That's right.
The show is us figuring shit out.
Just like our lives.
After 7 seasons, we don't know what the fuck's going on.
No, never will.
No. But it's always nice talking to you, Nick.
You too, buddy. I miss you.
I miss you too.
That was a great episode. I had a lot of fun.
It was.
The Shameless Picture Show is recorded in Milwaukee, Wisconsin and Easton, Maryland, and is hosted and produced by Nick Richards and Michael Viers. Today's episode was edited by Michael Viers. Our opening theme music was written especially for us by The Directionals, with narration by Zach McClain. The end credit music you're enjoying at the moment was generously provided by my friends in the band 10 Speed. The Shameless graphic design is masterfully done by Amanda Viers. An extra special thank you to all of our Patreon supporters and to our generous sponsors. We are on Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Google Play, and Libsyn. You can find links for all these amazing people in the description below.